And welcome to North of the Broad. I'm your host, Robyn Zimmerman. We're here with the Executive Director of the Pat Conroy Literary Center, Jonathan Haupt. And of course, we bring you our show each month from the Literary Center. And it is a beautiful place right here next to the water on, is it Bladen Street?
Bladen Street.
Bladen
there
Street.
You go.
Hey, Jonathan. How
Hi,
are you?
Robyn. Good to see you.
He's got the Camp Conroy shirt on. So I said, we've got some events to talk about, but let's just dive right into the camp. First week, going great.
Yeah, so I came over from camp. I'm going right back to camp. We have 22 really creative kids this year, a nice big group, plus 7 of my camp counselors. So just an incredible group of kids over there who are illustrating, writing, designing, ultimately publishing a book together over the course of the 2 weeks.
And we were saying that they really get to know each other, they bond, they all have very similar interests, of course, they're very different personalities, different backgrounds. You were actually sharing, the background of one of the girls. I mean, it's just an experience that they just will never forget.
It's life-changing for many of them. Some of these campers have been with us all 5 years, and I've actually seen them evolve and grow from tiny, tiny human beings to these amazing young people that they are now. And they want to share that. They want other kids new to the experience this year to have that same kind of experience and make those same kinds of bonds. So it's beautiful to see.
And of course, they create a book, they illustrate, they write, they read a lot, they're read to, and they have wonderful instructors.
And guest instructors every single day. Aki Kato, Japanese-born painter, is over there right now teaching today's lesson. And Kim Poovy, who'll be guest on the show, is one of our guest instructors for next week as well. So every single day, they have a unique experience specific to that moment in the camp.
And each year it gets better and better and better.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so let's move into June 30th, a really cool event. Actually, this is a virtual event. It's in partnership with Nevermore Books.
That's right, one of our local independent bookstores.
And so you have a very interesting guest speaker, Mark Powell, author of Lioness, but then he's national, and then you've got a local counterpart.
We do. So Mark is a writer that Pat Conroy and I published years ago in the Story River Books fiction imprint, and Mark has gone on to bigger and better things since then, as we hoped he would. His new book is about eco-terrorism and an FBI undercover investigation. It's called Lioness, as you mentioned. And right here in Beaufort, we have a former undercover FBI agent who is a novelist. Her name is Dana Ridenour. So she is going to interview Mark for us in this virtual event. Folks can tune in from anywhere. They can register to join us in the Zoom room on June 30th at 6, or they can watch Facebook Live that moment or afterwards as well.
And so you're not actually doing the interview, so it's the local author.
It is, Dana,
like
yes. We like to incorporate authors in conversation. That always makes a nice dynamic, like our conversations do. So that's what Dana and Mark are going to get to do.
So that'll be fantastic. And then we're going to jump over to July 15th. The Conroy Center and the Beaufort Bookstore will host a launch event for To My Dream Catcher.
Right. This is our friend Elizabeth Robyn, who lives on Hilton Head. She's a poet. This is her 3rd book. She's won a couple of really big awards in the poetry world, and we're really happy to celebrate her new book with her. And that one will be in conversation too, kind of that same thinking that why highlight just one writer when we can highlight 2 writers. So another of our Lowcountry poet friends, Barry Dixon, who's got a recent book out called Maybe Today, is going to be in conversation with Robyn. And she can be very serious and he can be very funny. And you put the two of them together and it's magical.
Now, is that live?
It is, yes.
All right.
So that's at Beaufort Bookstore. As we mentioned on the show before, we have multiple independent bookstores here in Beaufort. And we, the Conroy Center, like to support all of them. So we have our virtual event with Nevermore and then our in-person event with Beaufort Bookstore.
And then it continues to amaze me, the amount of talent just right here in Beaufort, but the Lowcountry. I mean, it's just amazing. Writers, illustrators, poets. It's just amazing.
Something about the tides and the natural movements of the world that just kind of sparks that creativity. We see it in our adult writers. We see it in our young writers at Camp Conroy. Pat Conroy experienced it himself, of course, when he was here as a teenage boy and fell in love with this place. And that's the experience that Camp Conroy is really meant to honor, not necessarily old man Pat Conroy, but teenage Pat Conroy falling in love with this place at the time what was Beaufort High School, which is now Beaufort Middle School, which is where the camp is.
And the Pat Conroy Literary Center is right in the middle of it.
Yes.
And it is such a beautiful place. If you have not visited this amazing location, the address is
601 Bladen Street.
Yes, and you're open
Thursday through Sunday, noon to 4, but a lot of other times for private tours.
for private
as
tours.
well.
Definitely
Yes.
come out. I talk about it all the time with my friends and colleagues. So thank you, Jonathan, for a great interview. And we'll be right back with North of the Broad. Stay with us.